At the moment, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Zairis Andonis. Professor Zairis is a professor of business administration in Neapolis University in Paphos in Cyprus. He has served in many areas as managing director of sales in multinational companies and large Greek enterprises. At the moment, he's assistant professor in Neapolis University in Paphos and associate vice president of the board of directors of CELPE. Professor Zairis is going to give us a speech entitled New Cultural Background, a New Entrepreneurial Spirit in Retail, the Great Transformation. Professor Zairis, the floor is yours.
Okay. Do you hear me well?
Yes, sir. Quite clear.
Thank you very much. The subject is, thank you for the invitation, first of all. The subject is cultural background and entrepreneurial spirit in retail. Country's cultural background has always been negative to any entrepreneurship initiative. For example, in the case of retail, what prevailed as a confrontation between individual pursuit involving risk and risk-taking and state protection offering security and protection was either the aversion to activity that involved business and the incrimination of profit, or the elevation of the retail job as a transitional phase with no prospects and no meaningful career path until a new job was found. In this way, Greek society has been grafted for many years with outdated concepts and ideological obstacles that crush individual initiative and individual interest on the altar of a flattening mentality regarding the values related to professional advancement in retailing and an inertia that acquires collective characteristics and has a deeper impact on the specific components that make up the personality of the individual. The concept of risk is, of course, particularly important as the attitude of the person exposed to different degrees of risk depends entirely on his personality, his ability to analyze the environment, his rational criteria for evaluating an event, his ability to formulate rational assumptions, and so on and so forth. Taking all this into account in combination with empirical knowledge, the risk-inducing event becomes obviously impaired and re-evaluating, and the benefits results of taking, for example, an entrepreneurial action prevail. Otherwise, the activation of individuals, even in everyday life, events that involve a low degree of risk, taking, for example, crossing a road with the risk of an accident, will remain inactive, and the individual will permanently seek a low risk and, of course, low reward in terms of achieving the outcome. The consumer revolution that took place in Great Britain in the 18th century, inextricably linked to the development of retailing, was a dynamic phenomenon with mass characteristics that brought about a series of institutional changes in the political social status quo of Western societies. The 19th century of our country is crucial due to the foundation of the Greek state, 1830, and the rapid changes that occur in consumer preferences and the way of approaching commercial transactions. In this phase, the European value structure in Greece contributed greatly with Romanticism and literally tendencies spreading to every expression of social life. So, from the Ottoman bazaar and the closed markets, we move on to the national liberation strength of 1821, the strengthening of the country's fabric and the improvement of infrastructure. However, after the occupation speculation in 1940, in the post-war period, the prevailing perception make business and the concept of profit a field of intense ideological confrontation and conflict, resulting in the state's wrong decision to take on an entrepreneur's role, planning and coordinating the functioning of economic life. In the last quarter of 20th century, however, private initiative is liberated and works wonders, while at the same time we are heading towards the new promising era of commercial consumption dominated by the shopping malls, stores, and the first shopping centers. The famous generation of the 30s is already leading the European trends. Retailing is evolving through various phases and operates on the basis of new standards imposed by the need to satisfy the demands of the modern consumer, which are met through constant negotiation and commercial transactions on the battlefield known as the retail store. A new high aesthetic beginning to emerge, which is visible on the facade and shop windows of commercial stores, but also through product demonstration, for example, fashion shows aimed of attracting the existing and new highly demanding buying public. The emergence of individual initiatives, importance, and the primacy of individualization over flattening uniformity and homogeneity brought a real revolution in entrepreneurship from the early 1980s. Modernizing concepts are prevailing, and the promotion of entrepreneurship's concept is accelerating rapidly in every form of organized society at local, regional, or global level. The onslaught of globalization has been a catalyst for that and has broken the barrier of protectionist notions that kept societies in mediocrity and citizens hostage by providing them with a supposed livelihood safety net. So, if the cultural background of a society operates in conditions where the alignment of economy's productive factors is identical to that of the government's aspiration in terms of the desired outcome, which is the production of wealth and social welfare, then entrepreneurship is facilitated and developed and private initiative flourishes. In this context, retailing, the predominantly dynamic sector of the economy, is able to produce results and operate beneficially in growth and employment rates of our country as the four basic success factors that allow it to operate are fulfilled. Both are the responsibility of retailers' management. First, there is organization structure and flexible management to manipulate prices. And on the other hand, a strong perception concerning the facts of the day after. Second, there is a spirit of teamwork and collaborative thinking that enables commitment to target achievement. Third, there is a clear vision, mission, and value system that aligns with the retailer's culture. And fourth, there is a clear social footprint that is reflected to wider sections of society by the retailer's actions. The spirit of entrepreneurship in retail is in line with the cultural background of a society that carries practices of free, creative, and individualized action that are liberated, and in this way, risk is approached and managed more effectively in the changing production and consumption pattern that the new reality demands. Of course, finally, the way in which this new consumption pattern in retailing is served will also determine the degree to which it contributes to the economic growth of our country. Thank you very much. Thank you.